was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh boy, has it been way too long. So for those of you unaware, recently Konami decided that after, 3.5 years, that it was finally time to undo a nerf to a deck that for the longest time was my favourite archetype in the game. A lot of you OG subscribers are probably well aware of this, due to the fact I have 13 different Cyber Angel videos on my channel right now, not even including this one. So finally Konami decided that it was time to free Cyber Angel. Not completely, we still have Machine Angel Ritual on the ban list, but I can live with one less copy of Ma. The important thing is, Dakini no longer shares a pool with it. It's finally free. So here is my updated 2021 Cyber Angel deck list. Alright, so before I get into the deck list, just a friendly reminder that if you are enjoying this video or find any of the content useful, to please consider liking the video down below and subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. I know there are a lot of you guys that are returning viewers to my channel that still haven't subscribed yet, so please do so if you haven't already. I'm getting pretty close to 50k now, so I can use all the subs I can get. Alright, so quite a few things to know, as I know there will be quite a few questions in regards to ratios and why I'm choosing to run certain cards. So personally, I feel like keeping things simple with Cyber Angel is generally best. Running a whole lot of tech cards in a ritual deck that is prone to bricking will generally just increase the amount of times it will brick, effectively making whatever reason you choose to run the tech cards irrelevant, as no matter how many times they may help you get a win, it's probably going to give you the same amount of losses just through the bricks alone. That being said, I think my list is pretty greedy in terms of trying to get 2 ritual summons off turn 1 as often as possible, so if you do feel like trying out some cool tech cards, feel free to swap out the Sprite's Blessings for cards like Banisher of Delight, who's searchable with Benten, and can really decimate some graveyard matchups. You could run some extra Backrow removal, although if you aren't going to go down that path, you should probably just swap to Master of Rites 1 and use Cosmic. Personally, I feel like Master of Rites 2 is basically a necessity for this deck to even have a chance of competing at the moment, but if you do run into a lot of non-destruction Backrow, that is certainly an option. If you do choose to run less ritual spells though, I do recommend swapping out one of the Senjus for a Gishki Chain. This monster is basically just a really discounted version of Manju or one of your Petits, as it can potentially search for spells or monsters. In regards to the other Cyber Angel spells in the game, such as Magnificent or Merciful, Merciful is the only card I would consider running. But personally, I found that if you didn't have access to Benten in your opening hand, that this card will just lose you the game a vast majority of the time, as going -1 in a deck that is prone to bricking this hard, and being forced to use your normal summon to search for a Benten, just so this card doesn't suck, does mean you're not using your Petits to search for Machine Angel Ritual, which puts quite a lot of faith in RNGs to give you some good draws. I'm not sure on this one personally, I was having no luck with the card myself, but in theory it just shouldn't have been as bad as it was for me, so feel free to give it a try anyway. I do recommend trialing stuff in this deck, as my list is just meant to be the most basic bitch version possible for you guys to have a starting point, and Cyber Angels do have quite a lot of room to try some stuff out. Hell, if you're really feeling spicy, try stuffing a Saphira into the deck, as that card used to be really nutty back in the day for CA. By the way, in regards to extra deck stuff, that really doesn't matter, as you'll very rarely go into it, so just fill it out with whatever stuff you have that's summonable. I wouldn't sweat too much about optimizing it. Alright guys, I would normally go through each card of the deck list, but let's be real here. These cards have been out since like 2017 or something, so most of you guys have probably seen them before. Don't worry though, if you are new to the deck, I'll still be giving commentary over the gameplay, showcasing each of the combos and showing what each of the cards can do, so you should still have a pretty good understanding of how the deck works by the time this video is done. So that's it for the decklist portion of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay with commentary, showcasing the decklist in action. Just a friendly reminder that if you are enjoying this video or find any of the content useful, to please consider liking the video down below and subscribe to the channel whilst you're down there. Enjoy the gameplay! Alright, let's get into it. So I'm going to be completely honest, if you're looking for the next tier 0 deck or Cyber Angels returning to their full power when they were a tier 0 deck, it's not going to happen. I think with this list, I went 6 wins out of the 10 games I played, which is still a 60% win rate, and it was definitely the best of the Cyber Angel deck list I tried out, but yeah, it's not exactly tier 0 anymore, and I don't expect to be seeing this on any tier list anytime soon. But it's definitely still coggable, and with all the different variations you can play of CA, I'm sure there'll be one deck list that will just be definitely good enough to get cog, so. Alright, so let's get into the gameplay. Alright, so we're going first. So first thing we do is we use Petit Angel to search for a ritual spell, as we're missing one currently. Adding Ma. Now you'll see this combo quite a lot, as it's the most common one. Most of the time you are aiming to do this combo. You're aiming to ritual summon Idaten using benten as material. This will give you two searches, one for a ritual spell and one for a monster. As when Idaten is summoned, it searches for a spell, and when benten is used as material, it searches for a monster. In this case, we're going to search for Dakini and another copy of Ma. And then summon Dakini using our two monsters on board. Since we're using Idaten as material, it will activate in the grave to give a 1000 attack buff to our monster on board. Or any other ritual monsters on board. Then during the end phase, Dakini can add a card back to hand from the graveyard, a ritual spell or monster. In this case, because we have two Machine Angel rituals in grave, I'm kind of happy to add one back to hand, even though normally you want to keep these in grave for their little destruction protection thing you'll be seeing quite a few times throughout these gameplays. But in this case, because we were lucky enough to get a hold of two of them on our first turn, I'm going to add one back to hand during the end phase. So I can potentially summon Izana. Alright, so our opponent was playing Trimid. It's a very interesting Backrow. So it activates double Power Stone. Our Power Sync Stone. Instantly swapping out his stuff so that whenever a monster effect is activated, he can now negate it. I kind of forgot about this when I summoned this guy. This guy's effect just gets negated. I probably shouldn't have summoned him, but it's whatever. He then adds his Sphinx to hand, which I don't care too much about. As you'll see, I just swing in, I don't give half a shit. He'll summon his Sphinx from hand, I don't care. Dakini during the end phase, thankfully, gets to avoid this, because these guys lose their tokens before it happens, which is kind of cool, so I get to add a card back to hand. Definitely calculated, by the way, I 100% knew that was going to happen. Alright, so he swings in with his Trimid Sphinx to try and kill off my Dakini. I have Machine Angel Ritual in the grave, which can be banished to protect one of my cards from destruction. Even with the Armades kind of style effect of King Golem, we can still use it in graveyard, which is kind of sick. Now. Alright, so once again he's going to activate his negate stuff, but we don't care too much because this only affects stuff on the field. And we just need this card to get enough attack to beat over this 4k boy. So we send double Idaten to the grave for 2000 attack boost to any ritual monster on board. Both effects going off in grave. Making a 4700 attack, 5700 attack Dakini, and a 4500 attack Izana. This guy was very dead. Alright, next replay. This deck is actually so much fun to play. I'm so glad that Konami finally decided to unnerf it. It's definitely kind of as bad as I thought it would be in terms of not being top tier level, but I'm glad that it's at least still playable and probably King of Gamesable if you feel like going that far. Alright, this guy was playing a load of garbage, but we kept the replay anyway. So again, Petit, we're going to search for Idaten because we have a ritual spell, we have benten, so we do the normal combo. This guy activates Forbidden Lance, so I can't use my Petit as material, which I think, Lamau, I don't give a shit about this. I wasn't going to summon Izana yet, I was just going to go for this little combo. I then forget this happened later on, as you'll see, but... So for those that don't know, if you use Lance on a monster, it can't be used as material with ritual spells, as it's no longer affected by them. So same combo, going to search for two cards. Here I search for Dakini and Machine Angel Ritual. In hindsight, this probably wasn't the best play. I was looking to summon both of these this turn, but that would require, you know, Petit to actually be usable with ritual summoning, which I kind of forgot, even though I just laughed at the fact he did this. So I'm just a dummy. Either way, it didn't matter. So Machine Angel Ritual, going to be summoning the Dakini, which will then remove the Dark Magician. So if those have never seen Dakini before, when this card is summoned, it will make your opponent choose one monster they control and send it to the graveyard. Very, very powerful effect. Probably the strongest type of removal in the game outside of maybe tributing. Just making your opponent choose to send. Really nutty. Ikanadius turns my thing face down. I don't really care. And at this point the game is over, so he just concedes. Alright. So this guy was playing Thunder Dragon. And I know I misplayed the start of this game. I remember it. Yes, we were on a loss streak here, we lost 2 games, but thankfully we never demoted with this deck, so that's pretty good. Alright, so once again we have the 2 cards, so we can do a search and a special summon. Now, here was a fat misplay from me. So here, even though I'm not planning to necessarily summon it this turn, because I still have a search, I decided to add Dakini to hand. I don't think you should really ever do this. If you don't plan to summon the monster you're searching for, you should probably search for either a Petit Angel or a Manji, as it just gives you an extra resource for ritual summoning on the next turn. You'll see me doing this misplay I think twice in these replays, but if you don't plan to summon the monster you're searching for, please just search one of your searches so on the following turns you have extra material. It just makes more sense. Because in this case I'm pretty sure I just summoned Petit Angel and I searched for another Dakini, which is kinda silly. This card should have just been a searcher for next turn. Alright, Machine Angel Ritual, going to be summoning one of the Dakinis. Giving it a 1000 attack boost and passing the turn. And adding the Machine Angel Ritual to hand because, yeah, we still have one in the grave already. Alright, so we're playing going to banish 2. Thunder Dragon Raw and Dark, which will give him a special summon and a search. And this is one of the matchups where it's very important this card exists. This card is a lifesaver. Not letting him target my stuff means that he can't summon the level 6 that will return this to the deck, or return this to hand. Very important. So he just has to pass the turn. Alright, Machine Angel Ritual, going to use my cards Engrave to summon another Dakini. Not going to use Dakini's effect though, because he'll just get negated, so I don't really care about it. I'm just going to swing into him. Only once though, I don't want to swing into this and give him a card back to hand or activate his skill. And during the end phase, we're going to add 1 card back to hand, because I don't want to add the Machine Angel Ritual to hand. He summons Levianeer. Levianeer tries to destroy some stuff, but can't hit the monsters on board due to Ritual Cage's protection from destruction. Alright, so he decides to go into Heliopolis. I think that's how you pronounce it. Activates its effect, tributes a bunch of stuff to try to destroy my monsters on board. I don't think he realised I had Mara in the grave, so I just activate Mara in response, which protects all my monsters currently being destroyed from destruction, and he concedes instantly. He was having none of that. So maybe he just didn't know what Mara did or completely forgot about it. Either way, he got rolled. Alright, this was a water deck, but I'm pretty sure he didn't do any actual summoning. He was just setting Backrow, so this was a good showing of this deck when it goes second into Backrow. So again, pretty amazing starting hand. This is the kind of stuff, if you start this combo, you're pretty set to go with Cyber Angel. Just these 3 cards, you're actually just set. So, give me a search. Alright, so if you're up against a Backrow matchup, generally, well, basically 100% of the time, Izana's your bet, because Izana, when it's summoned, it makes your opponent similar to Dakini. Your opponent has to choose one of his Backrow cards and send it to the grave. And if he activates any of his cards in response that target this card effects will activate to then return 1 card from graveyard back into the deck to then destroy any card your opponent controls. So, very good into Backrow. It's not immune to it or anything, but it does mean if your opponent does want to respond to it, that he's probably going to lose some cards. Alright, Senju going to add the other Idaten. This is pretty clever, by the way. So I added another Idaten because when Idaten is used as, obviously when it's used as ritual material, it can give 1000 attack boost to every ritual monster, including your small ones, like your other Idaten that I have on board. So this card will be 2600 attack, and this card will be, now when you see it, oh my god. Yeah, we have the other Machine Angel Ritual, and once again, because we use this as material, we search for another Idaten. So I'm going to give a 2000 attack boost to the Idaten already on the board, as well as the Izana I'm summoning. So I'm well prepared for his Backrow. Izana comes out, he uses Book of Moon. Sorry, spoiler alert. Targets my monster. I don't care about this. This is about to be a 3600 attack monster, so I already have lethal on board with these 2 cards alone. Plus, because he decided to target Izana, I can pop the Backrow. Which was a treacherous trap hole, which he didn't even bother to activate because he knows I have Machine Angel Ritual in grave. Alright. So I reckon this is the funny replay that I decided to keep just because it was amusing, even though once again I misplayed at the start by searching the wrong card. So this guy was playing Harpy. Thankfully not using Harping Ground, so he wasn't able to hit my Ritual Cage. Yes, here's another example of me misplaying. I had the good starting hand at the three cards you need, but even though I didn't plan to summon the monster I searched for, I still searched for another Dakini? Yeah, this is bad. You don't do this. You search for another one of your searches so you can use it on the next turn and have extra material. But either way, didn't matter. I think that misplay that is probably going to be the most common misplay you guys do as well. It's mostly because when you go through the searches, when you activate this dude's effect, they put all the ritual monsters at the front rather than the other guys, so it's just kind of natural to click them. Don't do that. Don't be a brainless monkey like me. Actually play the game properly. Nah. Adding back to hand and passing the turn. So our opponent summons a Channeler, goes into Perfumer, adds Egotist, then goes into Slash. So at this point, he activates Lance. So I was like, huh, why did you use Lance? I was very confused by this. He just activated Lance randomly? I don't know if he was trying to make this monster unaffected by Ritual Cage? It was very odd. I don't really know what happened here. Either way, he then used Egotist and conceded instantly when he realized he couldn't target my monster. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. That was a bit weird. Either way. Alright, so final gameplay. Right, so thankfully we went second here, because our hand is straight doo-doo. Alright, our opponent sets up a interesting Black Queen turn 1 board, not the normal stuff you see. But this card was actually really useful in this matchup, because since we didn't have target removal, or we can't target this thing, we could only remove this monster, or at least our opponent would choose to remove this, so we couldn't actually destroy this thing with card effect, and it can't be destroyed by battle. So it stopped him getting OTK'd. Because I had a really good starting hand once I drew the second monster. I had such a good starting hand, in fact, that we could have summoned both boss monsters and given one a big attack boost. But in this case, I decided to not go for that play and to search for Machine Angel Ritual, because this thing can't be destroyed by battle. So no point in summoning a second monster, we can't kill this thing. And it even takes no battle damage, I believe, so... we summon Dakini, he chooses to send this card. And then we swing in for some BM. He activates Lightning Vortex. This is also another reason why we chose to search for Machine Angel. So we still have that protection from engrave from this bullshit. Alright, this is one of the very, very rare occasions you're going to be seeing me use extra deck. So I Ritual Summon another level 8. We have 2 level 8s on board. This means we can summon a rank 8. We summon Giant Grinder, whose effect can then remove the special summon monster, and he concedes instantly. Alright guys, that's it for the replays. I hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.